That was You Get the Glory by Jonathan Traylor. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Rhema Central Coast. I just want to say welcome to Sunday mornings. It is a great opportunity for us to spend some time together. I hope your day is going reasonably well. If you're not familiar with us here at Rhema CC, we are a local to the Central Coast radio station, and we happen to be a Christian radio station at that. So we are a people who love God, and we are thankful that we get to spend our life getting to know him, getting to know, so much about the way that he does things. We get to see him and talk about, just how we see him in nature, how we can read about him in Scripture. The Bible is certainly a place that we go to find out more. And, we are so thankful for the life that Jesus lived. If you look at the Bible, if you have a Bible, you will pick it up and you will read about this guy called Jesus. And my goodness, he's a good guy. He really was. He is all the above. And if you are interested, if you're someone who hasn't actually, if you haven't really explored Christianity, but you are maybe curious, maybe you've got questions, we have plenty of churches in this region, in the Central Coast region, who are willing to just kind of sit and explain things to you, answer the hard questions. Maybe you've got things that you want to ask. Maybe you've asked them before, but you just didn't feel like you actually got them answered. So keep digging, keep asking the hard questions. And we actually, on this website, we do have a link that you can. I don't actually know where it is now, but there is a way you can actually look up different churches that might be suitable for you in terms of asking the questions in a direction or sort of setting that kind of fit you. We have traditional churches in the area. We have those who are more sort of more modern, more, we've got different styles, different ways of. Every one of us have an element of comfort that I think, we sometimes we just got to find where we fit, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with putting ourselves out there and going, I just need to get to know God's people who are, they might have similar sort of interests to me, or that we might be in a similar sort of life stage. Or you may be someone who is just, your focus is more a case of, I just want to be where God wants me to be so that I can give as much as I can. And that is about purpose, I think, guys. I think if you are someone who is driven by that, it's understanding that your life is full of purpose. So either way, it doesn't matter what path you take. I will just echo the fact that you do have purpose in your life. I say that every week, but I really do mean that. I mean that there is purpose in all things that you do anyway, because God created you for this season, this time. And he loves you. He really genuinely loves you. So I hope and pray you get to know that if you don't know that yourself at this stage. Yes, be brave. Ask the hard questions. Get to know this God, because he's a pretty cool God. Anyway, that's just my bias, but I've learnt the hard way too many times that, it's definitely the path that I choose to go to. So anyway, I have just waffled way too much. Guys, I'm going to be talking about something that's a little bit heavy today. I wasn't sure what to do with it, because I kind of had planned to do, and I actually will be doing over the next few weeks, sort of almost like I guess you could say sort of a series on the concept of what would Jesus do. And if you remember, if you're someone who's been around for a while, there was a stage back there where people used to wear these bands that said WWJD, and it was basically saying, what would Jesus do? Now, I don't know if any of us actually answered that correctly. I don't know if we really did think about how Jesus would handle situations, or if we just got very caught up in the culture of Christianity and just kind of. We can do that. There can be times where we just get caught up in what is culturally accepted in the Christian community, rather than thinking really with depth, what would Jesus do? So we will be covering that over the next few weeks. But today I'm going to be talking about something that is a little bit more personal to me, and not because I have dealt with it so much, but I've walked with people who have been impacted heavily by this one sort of issue. So what is it? Well, it's along the lines of a loose tongue, if you like. It's those who have had to sort of live through situations where rumours have been shared or spread. Those who have been destroyed by the words or thoughts, or there's a lot of bullying in it, I have to say. I think in a lot of concepts, a lot of sort of contexts, it can be like that. But when there is rumours flying out about a particular person or a situation, and the need for us to recognise that sometimes those words, sometimes those rumours are not actually true, yet they stick. And so we have a responsibility, I think, as Christians to be very mindful of that. We have a responsibility to guard our tongue, and we have a responsibility to protect. We have a responsibility to stand up and say, hang on a sec, that's not quite how it actually is. This is being played out that way, but is it actually that way? There is a reason why, several reasons why I speak on this. I think ever since I was in about year 6, so I would have been about 11 or 12, and there was accusations made about a teacher at the time that, I didn't know anything about until a year or two later. My mum actually worked in that setting. She worked as a colleague of this person, and the lives that were impacted by those rumours that were just not true, and they went through, all legal stuff, all legal proceedings, and those stuck. Now that's what I learnt that lesson as an 11 to 12-year-old girl, taking on this understanding that people can twist the truth, can turn the truth into something that is not. It's not accurate. It's not how it is. And I am being very careful because I also know that we need to be very, very mindful of those who are being brave, who are speaking up. So it is finding that balance of going, what is legitimately of consideration to us, and how do we protect those who have been harmed by something? But also what is not true? What is not true and being shared as the truth? Sometimes I think we just need to just be still. We need to not make a judgment. We need to just learn to be still before God. We can hear the things that are happening, the things that have happened, but we need to be still in our judgments and our accusations and the words that follow, because those words can be powerful in the life of that person or the persons. We are supposed to be a people who protect, who fight for justice. And fighting for justice doesn't always mean getting out there and screaming and yelling and being abusive and, my voice needs to be the louder one out of all of you. That is not what fighting for justice is supposed to mean in every context. Sometimes fighting for justice is actually listening in. Sometimes fighting for justice is holding our tongue until we know for sure, it's time. It's time to speak up. And so we're going to explore that. I know it's a big one. I'm going to try and stay on track as much as I can because I do get very passionate about this. I am going to also be very mindful of the fact that, it's a tricky one. It is tricky, and my passions for protecting those who have been harmed in situations like this, I will be upfront and say I do have a real soft spot for those who have been really hurt by people and lies. And, anyway, God, that's a lot of years, isn't it? All right, I'm going to leave it there, but we're going to dig deeper. We're going to talk about, it's an exploration of lies versus truth, and, the repercussions of both. So let's do it. Let's talk the hard stuff. That's what we're here for. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Well, welcome back, Coasties. It is a fantastic opportunity to be spending some more time with you guys. I hope your day is going okay. Hope things are going, actually, no, I hope more than okay. I hope they're going really, really well. We were just listening to More by Brandon Lake. Now, that's a good starting point for us, really, because we are going to talk some more of what I was just talking about before. So what was I talking about before? Well, I was talking about pretty heavy stuff, actually. So I hope you're kind of engaged. I hope you're listening. We're talking about the need to hold the tongue. How is that? Okay, I'm sitting here in front of you guys in some form, and I am talking to you. So my responsibility in using my tongue well and speaking with delicacy, with tact, with gentleness, with kindness, with hope. The responsibility placed on me as someone who is speaking to you right now is pretty high, really. It can alter your day. If I got on here and went, the world's great, everything's going to fall apart, You are not going to be walking into your day with a sense of hope, are you? Really? It is doom and gloom. So what we have to say about the situations that we're in, what we have to say about the things that we're experiencing or that others are experiencing, they have a huge power. They can alter that person's experience based on what we say in response. I have to sit here. I don't have to sit here. I choose to sit here and spend each Sunday morning. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what I just dropped, but that was something. No idea what that was. Anyway, so my responsibility obviously is to hopefully give you a great start to the day, to hopefully get in the car or to off to see family or whatever you're doing with a sense of, yeah, cool, we're in it. Let's go do this. Because if I did the opposite, why would you want to listen? Why would you want to get up and celebrate the fact that it is a great day? It is a great day. Of course it's a great day. But it just shows you the power of words. Now, specifically what I'm talking about today is the need to hold one's tongue when it comes to protecting other people. Why do I say this? Well, I have a background in counselling, and thankfully for me, I have had the privilege of having people share their world with me. And I have heard some things that you would, if you heard, you would sit there and go, is that real? Like, could that actually, this stuff that you see in storylines, that actually happens to people? And there has been those sense of, you kind of have that moment of, how do I get my head around this? Because what you're telling me is huge. But sometimes we have to listen. We have to listen and we have to respond with tact, with gentleness, with kindness, with hope. And we have to, if we are Christians and we love Jesus, we have to be able to love as best as we can. Now let me start with this. I know that can at times mean having to put in firm boundaries. I understand that and I get it. And there is a reason that we are encouraged to do that if it's needed. But I also know that Jesus met the woman at the well, and he knew exactly what her story was. He knew the story of her past. He knew how many partners she'd had, how many husbands she'd had. He knew it all. He knew what a messy situation she was in, and yet he just looked at her and just loved her. He crossed cultural boundaries to get to her, to say, I hear you. I see you. It doesn't matter what they say to me. I know your story and I still love you. Now that scenario could be something that we explore this morning just in itself. It's one of those things where he could, if Jesus had merely just heard those rumours and just said, you know what, I'm going to love you anyway. I just want to chat to you and I'm going to talk to you. We're going to converse here in some way. Even that would have been an act of mercy, an act of grace and an act of love. But he went one step further. He knew that the stuff that she had been involved in was messy, and it was leaving her in a situation where her life was all over the place, really. He chose to love her. And I think we have to be very mindful of that. We have to be mindful that we are going to confront situations where we're going to hear rumours about other people, and they may be true, they may not be true. So we may hear things that we go, okay, that's unbelievable. I can't get my head around that. I'm going to choose to love them anyway. And there may be times where we hear things that we then find out that, hang on a sec, those things weren't true at all. It's that in-between stage, between the moment of, I heard this about you, to the final conclusion. Maybe it's gone, maybe it might be a workplace scenario that's needed to be explored with, a high level. It might be school related. There may be something happening within a school where things have needed to be explored. It might be a legal situation where things have been pretty serious and pretty confronting. What are you doing if you hear these rumours about people? What are you doing in the middle sort of setting? Are you loving them regardless of what you have heard to be true? Will you love them to the end if you find out the things that they've been accused of actually are true? That's a really confronting question. And what are you going to say about that in the middle zone? Let's call it the middle zone. What are you going to, your thoughts, your feelings might be one thing, but what is your actions and your words, how are they going to flow on from there? I want to leave you with a Bible verse here. I did say this morning, I get very passionate about this one because I have seen too many people damaged by by situations that are beyond them. But I didn't go as far as to say I get so passionate about those who have had to deal with the lies, who have had to deal with the accusations, the things that have been said or made out to be more than what they actually are, because they stick, and they stick for a lifetime. So we're going to be the people who rescue those who have been victimised in a way that is, it's just so messy. It really, really is so messy. There's so many situations where I can think of where people needed a hero, but they were just so bombarded with these lies that the voices of the lies became so loud. I can't imagine how isolating that has to be for someone who is going through something so heavy, because it really is. So let me remind you guys, Ephesians 4:29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Guard your tongue. That is what we're being told here. Ephesians 4:29, let me just read that to you again. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Challenge it. If you are hearing things, they may be true. They may be one of those situations where it's mind-boggling to think, hang on, is this true? But they also might not be true. What are you going to do with it? That in-between, what are you going to do with that information, and how are you going to deal with it? My encouragement to you, if you love Jesus, look at him. That's a good starting point. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. See you soon. Hello Unknown by Laura Story. What a good way for us to start here. Back at Rhema CC for Sunday mornings. Let's go round 3. We are here. Let me just say, I'm Lindy. I'm your Sunday morning host here, and I am so thankful again that you happen to be in my sort of world at the moment. I hope that you're going to be with me in my world for, week after week. I look forward to spending some time with you guys. And I do hope you're having a good one. I do mean that. I really, really do. We are talking some heavy stuff here today, guys. We're talking about truth versus lies, really. And, well, you might be going, hang on a sec, what do you mean? That's a heavy one to start this morning. Yeah, it is. It really is. And why am I saying that? Because I've seen what lies can do to people. And I think we as a faith community are being encouraged. We're being encouraged to make the call if we think that something that has been said about another person doesn't quite sit. We are being encouraged to hold our tongue in times where we want to say more than what we should, and we want to get caught up in the drama of things. We are humans. We tend to be drawn towards the drama, and we tend to kind of put our own little leanings on things like, yeah, actually that sounds right about that person, because now I think about it. Yeah, we've got to stop that. We've got to stop trying to put all the dots together just to prove a point, because we don't always know the whole setting. We don't know the whole scenario. We don't know what has happened. And as someone who has worked in the counselling industry and welfare for a long time, I have seen people who are damaged by lies, by things that have been told about others. I've worked with victims too who have been on the other side where they've finally been brave enough to speak up. So there is this beautiful, there is a beautiful movement in seeing others who need to stand up. I'm all for that. But what if there's not anything that's happened? What if they're all just words? What if there's nothing to them? What happens to those who are involved in that? I'm not someone who normally gets overly emotional over stuff, well, really anything. Oh, I lie, because lately I have been like that. But I think as time has gotten on, the last couple of years as I've learnt to actually be emotional, which I was always very, very together until about 2 years ago. And then I suddenly realised that, hang on, actually God's given us an outlet. We can actually cry if we need to. We can show emotion, which is odd because, I've got a counselling background. So I'm used to working with other people's emotions. But for myself, learning to be emotional has been a bit of a journey. But on this particular subject or issue, I can't help but get emotional. I can't help but get emotional because I have seen people who have been accused of the most horrendous things, only to get all the way down the track and things be investigated and to be found out that there's nothing to it. And people go, okay, cool, nothing to it. But the damage that has been done to that person who is accused of these things, and for them to then try and rebuild their lives based on the things that other people believe about them, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. It actually angers me. There's certainly some emotion. If we're talking emotion, I am sad and I'm angry that these people are dragged through scenarios that they have to prove to others that that's not true, to the point where their life is then completely altered. They don't know who their friends are. They don't know who their business associates are. They don't know what kind of workplace they've got. There is no stability in their life because lies have been told and people have fueled them. What kind of people are we? What kind of people are we? I'm finding it really, really hard to be balanced on this one because I care so much about those who have been damaged by this sort of thing. I struggle to hold my tongue on this one. So if we're talking today about holding your tongue and having a loose tongue, trying to say the right things and do the right things, when it comes to this one, I struggle because, quite honestly, lies infuriate me, especially when they're at the expense of another person who is innocent. If you hear things, guys, this is my plea to you. If you hear things about other people, do not slam that door shut and say, over, I want nothing to do with you. Please don't. Because you know what? You could actually be the person that's missing out here. If you slam that door shut, you are missing out on a great person, because the lies that have been told about that person as time evolves, those lies that have been, revealed and exposed, have actually told you about the kind of character of the person you're dealing with. They've spoken a huge amount in terms of what kind of a person you're actually dealing with. You are dealing with someone who has got some serious stamina. You are dealing with someone who's got a very, very strong spirit, probably because they've had no choice but to keep pushing through the rumours and the accusations and the lies. And they've had to seek the guidance of others. But you got some quality stuff going on for a person who's been through something like this. And yet the world will tell you it's done. They can't be touched. There's no good in them. So what are we speaking over them? What are we speaking over those who have been accused of doing the wrong thing? Are we just going to sit there and be the doom and gloom that they need or don't need yet, that they really, really, really do not need? We think that we're helping sometimes by saying, oh, yes, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. So we think that's what they need, but that's actually not what they need. We need to be the people who speak life into them because the world has destroyed so much of their life. We need to be the people that stare in their eyes and say, I see hope in you. We need to be the people who say, get up, keep moving, you are not done. We need to be the people who stand before them and say, God has got a purpose for you. I'm not giving up on you. I don't care what the rumours are. I don't care what people have said. Sure, take things seriously. If there's still questions being asked, absolutely. Go the flow and make sure the right people who are investigating whatever's happened for that particular person, make sure that you have the ease of mind that you can kind of go, I know this is all lies. Take your time if you need to. But when it gets to the other side, that is not a time to say, well, you got through that. Off you go. No, that is a time to stand before them and say, I'm here. We are doing this. You are getting your life back because lies will not hold you any longer. I am walking this path with you. You are going to be restored. You are going to be made whole. You've got a God that loves you and he loves you completely. He loves every fibre of your being. And I'm so sorry that you have been made to feel that you are not worthy. I'm so sorry that you have had this experience. I'm so sorry that your family and your friends have had this journey with you and that it has destroyed so much. But you know what? I'm walking this with you. We are doing this together. Let's get up. Let's keep moving. Let's see how we can get you back out there because you've got a life to live. And you've got a life to live that is full, that is abundant, that is just so God oozing. He loves you. He loves you. He loves you. We cannot allow the lies to just dim those around us. I have sat and read comments in social media settings from people who I know about other people, and I have sat there and thought, oh my goodness, what are you doing? You don't know what's going on for these people at the moment. There is another side to every story. And if we are going to be the same as every other person in the world that says, you know what, I think you're done. You're guilty of whatever it is that you're being accused of. We're being no different. We are being no different than any other person in the world. And sure, there are situations where things have been done where there is a guilty verdict. Different setting, different time, different exploration on my part. That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about those who have been through settings or scenarios that are just lies, and they've come back to the other side. They need to know people love them, people see hope in them, and that people see them as good people. If you are someone who has been damaged by the lies of other people or another person or a situation, this is my deepest sorry. I'm so sorry that you have had your life turned upside down through lies. I genuinely mean that, and I'm sorry that you've experienced it. But this is the truth. You are teaching us something. You're teaching us about controlling our tongue. You are teaching us about looking for hope. You're teaching us about looking for authenticity, for genuineness, for a person who pushes through. You're teaching us about stamina, about going the extra distance when we don't feel like we can. You are teaching us so much. So don't feel that this time in your life is a complete and utter waste. Because people do point fingers and people do make accusations, but not everyone believes them, especially when they've been proven to be wrong. I see hope in you guys. If you are someone who has lived this, God's got a purpose for you. I mean it. He really does. All right, that was a heavy one. We'll leave it there, and I'm going to try and be a little bit lighter. I don't know if that's possible on this one, but anyway, we'll give it a go. See you guys back here soon. And welcome back, Coasties. Welcome back to Sunday mornings. Welcome back to Rhema CC. Welcome back to a fantastic opportunity to get up and enjoy this God-given thing called life. It is such a special thing. And I hope you're having a good one. I hope your life is actually evolving to be beautiful and you're seeing all the fruits of the Spirit in your world in some capacity through the people that you associate with, through maybe interactions with neighbours, I don't know, whatever it is. I hope you're seeing it. I hope it's good. I hope you're seeing all things good because God is a good God, even in the crummy stuff, even in stuff that we just don't want to deal with, even in the, you know where I'm going with it. Guys, we're talking some heavy stuff today, and I have to say, if you've been with me this morning, you will know that it has been heavy. I have a deep, deep love for truth and a deep, deep despise for lies. That's the truth. That's what it comes down to. Don't know how I got to this point. Maybe I've been caught out in a few of my own lies a few too many times. I don't know, but I have a deep passion for chasing truth. I have a deep, deep passion for confronting lies. I have a deep, deep passion for uplifting those who have lived through lies to find that, the lies don't stick, the lies don't hold, and there is truth to be restored. I have a deep compassion for those who have been in situations where lies have been shared about them that to a point where their life has been turned upside down, really has been made a mess, really, really, really has. And so I guess that's where I'm coming from. And I wanted to confront it because it's a reality that I'm seeing more and more. I think it's quite sad. I think it's very, very sad actually to see how many people have been destroyed by lies told about other people. Anyway, that's a bit deep, but how did I get here? I kind of got here by thinking about the role of the tongue. And where do we fit in the whole rumour thing? How do we control what is put out there? How do we control what is spread about ourselves, about others? I had someone this week who actually, really great question, but we just came back to Hope Cottage where I run a not-for-profit organisation. We do, basically it's just like a little shop that's got groceries and stuff that people can come and get that's really cheap. We give free bread and fruit and veggies and stuff away. And it's just a really good place to just connect. It's a good place just to spend some time with our community. And we've got some really, really great clients. It's they're all great actually, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of, I had a conversation this week with our volunteers, and one of the questions was, how do you know, or how do people know, how things work here, and in terms of food safety, how the protocol of making sure it's all okay? Because basically with Food Bank, which is pretty much what we're doing, you have a certain amount of time that you can have things on the shelf. Now we don't, at our shop, we don't go to the full extent of that. We only go it's actually less than half of that time. But it's basically just, it's trying to, tap on the head that whole food wastage thing and making sure that we're not just wasting food, we're giving it to people who can use it but probably can't afford it as easily as, everyday person. And so, the question was how do we make sure that people know, you might say such and such a date is when it's supposed to be out, but this is the protocol that's happened. And I said, basically, we've got to communicate. And that starts from all avenues of our interactions with our customers. So that is from the time that they turn up at the door, we go through, explain to them what we are legally allowed to do in terms of food, the handling process of the food. We talk to them about, any questions they have, we address those questions. We also make sure the things that we put on social media are in regards to that, how we're going to do things properly to ensure their safety. And communication, when I was talking to the volunteers that I work with, I realised as I was talking just how much communication controls so much. The way that we communicate with other people can alter and change and, give people the assurance that, hey, I'm safe here, or no, I've got to be guarded because I'm not sure. I don't feel like I'm getting all the information that I should be getting. So communication is huge. It really does impact how we do things. And our tongue, the way that we communicate with our tongue is a massive part of that. I think we have to be mindful also of the way that we do social media. Well, obviously, we've got to be very mindful of things that we put out there. Yeah, certainly I think there's situations where people can misread how we write things. I have been accused of that myself many times, and I'm like, if you sat and had a conversation with me, I would be quite happy to have this conversation face to face, and you would know that there is in my writing, there's no aggression to it at all. I'm merely saying, hey, this is how it is. So we can get misunderstood by the things that are written based on what that person, how the person we're speaking to would interpret it. But it says more about them too, I think, because it just means they don't know you as a person as well as they could. That's the way that I take it. Might not be the case for everyone, but I sort of go, if you knew me more, you'd know that there is not 1 ounce of my being that would be aggressive, that would not speak in a situation without... I mentioned before, I was like, emotionally, when it comes to this issue of controlling the tongue and protecting those who have been impacted by lies, I have to do it with tact. I have to slow my thinking down. I have to slow my emotional response down, and I have to just think very carefully about who I'm working with and who I'm talking to, because if I'm not careful, I can be sort of throwing things out there based on emotion, based on the things that I'm feeling. And that's not the way that we should be doing things. So I pull myself away when it comes to this sort of stuff. But I guess I'm just trying to think about what the point of that was. But there was a point that I had in my head, and I don't know where I was going with it. I guess what I'm saying is we've got a responsibility in how we communicate, and we've got a responsibility in how we control what we do with our tongue, whether that's through actual vocal or verbal communication, or if it's through other means like social media. We have a way, or a responsibility, I should say, that we should be protecting others if we are not sure about the rumours that we're hearing. If we're not sure about the things that we've heard, or we know something that's completely contradictory to what is being told, we've got a responsibility to speak up. I certainly came across that just recently. I was like, I had heard that there was some stuff going on, and thankfully I had something documented from about 4 or 5 years ago that I pulled out and went, that doesn't sit right with this. Presented it to that person so that then they could see that actually, she's on my team here. She's got my back. And I think it's really important when you see or you hear things, you got to grab hold of the opportunity and get the proof of what would contradict that. If there's some stuff that you're going, what these people are saying about this contradicts, what I have in terms of proof, if you like. Hold on to the proof. That's all I'll say. Let's just go with that. Protect the people. Protect the people who are being impacted by the lies. I think we as a Christian people we are supposed to be driven by truth, yes. And when truth needs to be reprimanded, when there's stuff that needs to be dealt with, obviously we want the truth in that setting. But we also want the truth when there's not issues to be dealt with. We want the truth to surface. We want the truth to be exposed. We want freedom to be a part of that person's life or the organisation or the business or whatever it is that's being attacked. Now, how many of you guys have seen, even on community, social media pages, people going, oh, there's this happening with this business, and can you believe that? And, I find myself, my eyes kind of stand out of my head because I think, whoa, hang on a sec. This is all just you just putting stuff out there that's probably not got a lot of truth to it. We've got to be very careful, not even just from a legal standpoint in terms of, covering ourselves. We've got to be very careful in how we do things. We've got to do life with tact. We've got to be careful with what we say, with what we do. We've got to protect each other. And we've got to search for truth. Now, as I said, if that truth means that person needs to be reprimanded, absolutely, we want that truth to be exposed too. But if we discover that the truth has allowed a freedom to be lifted, we need to just wrap ourselves around that person or that situation or that company or whatever, and we need to use our communication to uplift them. Let me read you some scripture here. Colossians 4:6, let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt. So that's that kicker of, hang on, there's got to be something to it, so that you may know how to answer everyone. I'm going to read you something I read before, Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Proverbs 10:19. The memory of the righteous will be a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. I missed that. That's Proverbs 10:7, and then this one is Proverbs 10:19. Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but the prudent hold their tongue. Proverbs 15:4, the soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. Watch what you have to say. Proverbs 15:28, a hot-tempered man stirs up dissension, but a patient man calms a quarrel. Another sort of version of that I've got here is the heart of the righteous weighs its answers, but the mouth of the wicked gushes evil. We have a responsibility, guys. We've got a responsibility to speak up when we need to speak up. We have a responsibility to say all that is good, to lift each other up, to support, to wrap around each other and say, I got you, and other people are pointing the finger and going, yeah, but did you hear? If there is truth that has been exposed that proves that there is nothing to be of caution, we have a responsibility to keep standing up and going, this person deserves a second go. They deserve the opportunity for that job. They deserve to be able to get in and have a turn of, whatever experience without being made to feel that they should not be in that place at that time. I find myself literally shaking my head when I think about this and the things that I have become aware of that others have missed out on based on rumours from other people. The rules have come down and gone, you're not allowed to be a part of this because someone else has said something bad about them. And until that's completely resolved, often at the highest levels, unfortunately, that person's life has been destroyed. We've got a responsibility to get back up and wrap our affections around the person who has been damaged through those lies. We do. We really do. So start saying those good things. If you've heard the rumours about someone, get behind them. Get behind them and say, guess what? I've got your back. I will support you. I will lift you. I will look at every opportunity to make sure you have got a fresh start. That the communication, your job, our job is to make sure that the communication that we put out there is exactly the same as the food handling stuff at My Hope Cottage sort of setting. The communication we were putting out there, the ability or the willingness to stand up and say, yeah, I know that person. Oh, yeah, that stuff was said about them, but that's not true. It's already been proven. There's nothing to that. We have that responsibility. The lies should not be holding them down in darkness. That is not where God is. If we are a people of God, we've got to get up behind them and say, got your back, let's lift you up. Let's let people see who you really are, because you are a story of God's. You are God's story. Do it, guys. If you know someone who's been beaten around by the lies and the misconceptions, misunderstandings, perhaps, let's say that. But if they're brutal lies, we have a responsibility to lift them up. And it is my prayer that you are brave in doing so, that you are willing to go to them and lift them up. I don't know about you guys, but I think it starts in childhood. We have a responsibility to teach our kids as kids to get behind that kid who's being picked on in the playground because so-and-so has said something about them. We have a responsibility to go, no, what are you going to do about that? You need to go and play with that kid. You need to go and spend some time with them. You need to sit and spend some time just listening to them we've got to urge our kids to do it so that we can then see that the generations to come are doing things in a much better way than we probably are. We have allowed the negativity to rule. We have allowed the lies to play for far too long. If we want a different world, it starts with us, and it starts with us being willing to chase what is true and to stand up for it. Stand up for what is true, what is noble, what is all the good things. Stand up. We've just got to stand up, and we stand up for each other. As you can tell, I'm getting quite passionate, so I'm going to leave it there because I told you before I get this way a bit. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll be back with my happy, chappy, sort of, clappy face on or something like that. I'll do my best. But my goodness, guys, my plea is this. Just be there for each other, even through the lies, even through the deceptions, even through the stuff that makes us uncomfortable, even in all that. Be like Jesus as he's standing there, spending his time with the woman at the well, and just love. Just love as best as you can. All right, I'm out of here for a bit. I'll see you soon. Matthew 15:11, what goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that is what defiles them. Proverbs 21:23, those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. Proverbs 26:20, without wood a fire goes out, without a gossip a quarrel dies down. Proverbs 31:26, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. There are so many words and so many verses that we can look at Scripture and how we need to control our tongue. We've been talking about that today, guys. We've been talking about the impact of lies that have been told, of the mishandling of truth and the deception that goes with that. We've been talking about our need as a Christian people to stand up for those who have been accused of doing wrong, only to be found that actually, no, there was no wrong in what they did. It is our responsibility to love them, to lift them, to nurture them, to say, I see hope and future in you. Because my goodness, my God has promised that. He has designed you with a purpose and a plan. Speak life into each other. It doesn't take much. Proverbs 34:13, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. Yeah, that would be nice, huh? Proverbs 14:1, I can't read. Proverbs 141, verse 3. My eyes are terrible at the moment. Set a guard over my mouth, Lord. Keep watch over the doors of my lips. What a prayer that is, hey? Titus 3:1-2. Remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready, and to do whatever is good. To slander no one, to be peaceable and considerate, and always to be gentle towards everyone. Proverbs 18:20-21. From the fruit of their mouth a person's stomach is filled, with the harvest of their lips they are satisfied. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. There's a lot in all of this. I'll finish off with this one because honestly, the list just goes on and on and on. And if you are interested in looking at this even further, certainly do your own research, because God has echoed time and time again how important it is for us to really guard what we say, to really guard what we say in the way that we do things, the way that we communicate, to protect others, to protect ourselves, to make sure we protect those who need to be restored, to be affirmed, to be encouraged, and those who need to be broken free of the hold of lies. I'll read this one and then I'll just leave it there. Psalm 52, 2-9. Who you practice deceit. Sorry, I can't read. I'm very tired. It's been one of those mornings. You who practice deceit, your tongue plots destruction. It is like a sharpened razor. You love evil rather than good, falsehood rather than speaking the truth. You love every harmful word. You deceitful tongue, surely God will bring you down to everlasting ruin. He will snatch you up and pluck you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous will see and fear. They will laugh at you, saying, here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth and grew strong by destroying others. But I am like an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever. For For what I have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people. And I will hope in your name, for your name is good. We have a responsibility, guys. I know I've said it lots this morning. We have a responsibility to watch how we handle things. Not only do we have a responsibility to navigate what we hear and what we do with it, we have a responsibility to stretch out our arms in love. We have a responsibility, told you I'm getting tired, to be Jesus, to respond like Jesus would respond. So as we close today, I'll get you thinking about this, because this is where we're headed over the next few weeks. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do in lots of different scenarios? I guarantee you in this one, he would seek the truth. He'd already know the truth because he's Jesus. But I guarantee that he would be driven to find the truth and to love, regardless of what the truth is. Innocent, guilty, just to love. I'm going to leave it there. It's a bit of a challenge for all of us, but I will leave it there, guys, and I'll see you guys next week. As I said, we're going to be exploring what would Jesus do. Got a few different scenarios. Next week, I think we're going to kick off with the whole illness and healing sort of thing, the faith and healing sort of concept, and how does Jesus respond to it? Are we supposed to actually take it seriously, or do we just let it be? Who knows? I will examine that further with you guys next week. Looking forward to it. Please stay safe. Look after yourselves. Look after your family. And, if you've got a furry friend, make sure they know that they are pretty special in your life. Do something kind for them this week. And, again, happy birthday to any birthday people out there. I will talk to you guys next Sunday. Take care, and many, many blessings to each of you. All right, see you guys.